Alright, hey, what's up everybody? This is Jacob from the Loose Canons here today to bring you my review of Team Ico's The Last Guardian. I realize a lot of people have been reviewing this game, especially since it came out about a month ago, and the hype's already kind of died down, but I didn't get it till Christmas, and I thought I'd take a moment to review it, look at the goods, the bads, uh, some of the uglies even, and give my thoughts on the game. So I'm going to go ahead and get the number score out of the way immediately. I give the game a 9 out of 10 for many reasons, such as, well, let's start with the bads. And so with the bads, I only had two real problems with the game, maybe three. The camera was atrocious at times, especially in these tight corridors where you'd be running down with Trico, and then you would you'd be running down the corridor with Trico, and then he would just kind of stop. And if you're trying to climb him, the camera would seem to get caught on him, and you would see nothing but black. And it was a real pain in the ass sometimes, but yeah, I had to deal with it. It wasn't too bad, like some people say. It was bad though. The other bads were I had a problem with the main character, the boy. The problem I had with him was when you would jump, or if you were holding onto Trico and he would kind of bounce around. The boy just kind of flopped, like some ragdoll physics were there, and that was a big turnoff for me. But other than that, and then the last thing, the last short was the length of the game. I thought it was actually too short for how much we were promised. Um, I beat the game in a little over 12 hours, which that seems to be the average runtime of the game, but personally, I don't like a game that's short. I like my 30, 40, 50 hour plus games. So to see Team Ico pump something out that's short is a little jaw dropping, to say the least. So while we're on the topic of the boy, though, while he's still fresh in our minds, I thoroughly enjoyed the animations of the boy. He was very lifelike. He moved very fluidly for the most part when he's not holding onto Trico and flailing around. It was very believable, like almost like motion capture, which I realize motion capture has become a big thing in video games now, especially with things like Call of Duty and other things like that. But something about the way he was done just seemed very natural. Like that's how a young boy would move. I also really enjoyed some of the puzzles to get through the game. There were a few that were quite challenging, but other than that, the puzzles were really good. There was this one puzzle I remember I spent 30 minutes on it, where you fall through a hole, and you fall through this hole, and Trico's just kind of standing there, and you have to push this crate through some water, and you have to stand on it in the far right corner of the screen, or not the screen, the area, and you have to stand on it and just keep calling to Trico, waiting until he puts a hole through the ground and then sticks his tail down. I spent over 30 minutes just on that one spot because I couldn't figure out what to do. Um, but speaking of Trico, though, Trico was definitely the highlight of the game. He moved so fluidly. He moved like a real animal, and I'm not a big animal person, and that's actually one thing that would make this game so appealing to people. Is if you love animals, you would love the bond that the boy and Trico make. But Trico was very special to me. A lot of people complained for the first half of the game, he doesn't really listen to you, and he doesn't do this, he doesn't do that, he takes forever to react to commands. But I didn't see, and a lot of people saw that as a coding problem or just a bad programming problem. I saw that as a good thing, because he doesn't trust you in the beginning of the game, and you have to slowly build his trust. And as the game progresses, he becomes more and more responsive. And even by the end, he's still somewhat unresponsive because he's an animal. Animals don't always respond immediately, and I found that very realistic, and I liked that they gave him life. They made him very real, and that was a really good thing. The visuals were absolutely outstanding. Some of the best, and it does look like a last gen game, or even some some could consider it a high end PS2 game. But the way I looked at it was breathtaking. The it was many different art styles colliding with the realism of Trico and the water style of I forget what the PS2 game was, but it had a wolf and he painted things. I forget what it was. I'll put it in the description. But the world kind of looked like that, and then the boy was his own unique style, almost like an early Ghibli film, and it looked really good. The visuals were great. The story, what little there was very entertaining. I liked the idea of, at the beginning of the game, we have no idea how we got here. No idea why Trico's tied up. All we know is we gotta save him and we have to get out. And as the game goes, you form this bond with Trico, and after a certain point, he becomes hypnotized, for lack of a better term, and he eats you. And that triggers a flashback to how you were abducted. And it came as a pleasant surprise that it was actually Trico who abducted us, and I thought that was an interesting thing. I also thought it was a really cool idea with along the way you feed Trico many barrels to feed him. But I thought it was a genius idea at the end of the game where when all the different versions of Trico come out and they spit up bodies into this totem looking thing and it spits out barrels. I was blown away by that concept, and I thought that was really just amazing. And the last thing is music. The music was some of the best music I've heard in a video game in a long time. And that's coming from a guy who plays nothing but RPGs, which always have good music. The music in this game was phenomenal, and if I have to recommend any one singular piece from the soundtrack, it's definitely the main theme, which is Dreams of Trico. It is a phenomenal piece, and it truly captures the essence of the game itself, and I think everyone should give it a listen, and I think this is a game that should be given a chance by everyone, especially people who played Ico and Shadow of the Colossus, Team Ico's previous works. This meets their level of requirement. Like, this is Team Ico at their best. So thanks for watching. This has been the Loose Canons. I'm Jacob, and subscribe, comment, like, favorite, do anything. All of it helps, and thanks for watching.